Welcome back to Issues and Answers. I'm going to be talking with attorney Bob Lowe, and he is a practicing attorney in our community, and his specialty is immigration law and immigration policy, and I welcome you here, truly. You're a very interesting man. We were chatting some before we went on the air, and the gentleman certainly has a lot for us to think about. But one of the things that you said to me, and you've got some statistics there with you too, and I said by the year 2050, most of the population, or a large percentage of the population, is going to be people of color, which means things are constantly changing in terms of the kind of people who are coming into this country. With all of this going on, what does a firm like yours do to assist in this process called immigration?
Well, Cheryl, our firm doesn't handle the regular run-of-the-mill cases, if you will. My background is complex litigation. And that's what we continue to do in the context of immigration. First of all, we don't have immigration specialists in the state of South Carolina. So I'm an immigration specialist. I do practice in the area of immigration law. I'm a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and I'm active in that group and have been for a little bit. What we want to offer the public in the context of our services is if you have a complex issue. For example, we have a lady that we'll be going to represent next week who flunked her English competency exam. So we'll have to work with her. She's over 80 years old. We'll have to work with her to try to get her through the exam.
Now, what does that mean, she's flunked this examination? What was that examination for?
The examination is to establish her competency in two areas. One is civics, and one is English.
Now, you've got to pass a test like that before you become a citizen of the United States.
Yes, ma'am, that's right, Cheryl.
Is there a long or a whole battery of tests, or what sort of testing is done?
It's relatively simple for you and me to be able to do it, and these are base level kind of issues and qualifications that you'd expect American citizens to have. At least probably what you and I would expect citizens to have, and that is you have to be able to read one of three sentences. So the examiner will give you a piece of paper with three sentences, and he or she will ask you to read one of those sentences. The examiner will also read a sentence to you and ask you to write it. And then the examiner will give you a civics test, and out of the 10 questions, you have to get 6 of the 10 questions correctly.
And now some of those questions are like, who is the vice president, who is the president of the United States, things of that sort, right?
Exactly right.
That most of us are supposed to know, but many of our college students don't even know that, and I know exactly what I'm saying here. I've seen it. But those are the kinds of tests that individuals who want to become citizens. How long does it take you to become a United States citizen once you've gone through all this process?
Not very long. So we're going to go next Thursday, I think it is, to the local Charleston office, and we should get our results pretty quickly. And sometimes they're sworn in on the same day.
Well, really?
So once we're able to get by the initial timing criteria, then we're able to get in. One other qualification that I omitted was that you have to demonstrate that you can speak English, just like you and I were speaking right before the show.
Yeah.
We're also able to put words and concepts into context. For example, what is a dollar bill? You wouldn't separate dollar and bill. Colors, concepts, and things like that.
And I know that some of my audience is sitting out there right now going, but there are a lot of people in Charleston and everywhere else in this country that cannot and do not speak English. So how did they get in? Or are they wanting to be United States citizens? Are they here on other kinds of government approval?
Interesting that you point that out. And these are, I think we have aspirations for our citizens, that all our citizens would know that. You may be familiar with the old Jay Leno show that's coming back on the air. He had this interviews on the street, and he would show pictures of different politicians, and perhaps the people on the street wouldn't know them. Or he would ask common questions that people would know, just to kind of point out that we have some area to go too. It's very important for us as citizens to be informed about what's going on.
Right.
Very important. And you can't be informed unless you're able to understand how these relationships among government exist.
Now, there are a number of ways, apparently, that you can get that an immigrant, somebody who wants to immigrate to this country, well, you come here for a lot of reasons, but there are a lot of different ways that you can come into this country. Not only as one who wants to become a citizen, but for working or for visiting with family. Aren't all of those ways also available to the immigrant?
Exactly right. We have different wage categories or different job categories, and they're labeled from 1 to the most attractive to 5 or 6 to the least attractive. And the least attractive for the purposes of immigration are the unskilled workers. So what we have done in this country is we've decided that, yes, we'd like to have immigrants come in, but we want the most highly specialized immigrants to
so
come
the
in.
doctors and the lawyers and those big-time professionals, they get to come in right now.
Exactly.
All right,
exactly.
who decides what kind of person and what category of person gets to come into this country?
These are laws enacted by Congress, okay? And we do have, in 2007, one of our senators put forth a bill. Well, actually, President Bush had passed the National Immigration Act. That's the last time we did something. Mm-hmm. After that, we have some changes that are being brought about in which Lindsey Graham is prominent. Okay? Unfortunately, many of these issues are now on the back burner because of health care and issues relating to health care.
Well, what's the priority for getting a person into this country now? Because the economy is the way that it is, it can't be for jobs. So is it for family, or is there some other category or reason I should say, that one can get into this country?
Most of the people that we are seeing in the practice are people that relate to other people, so that we'll have a citizen who wants to bring in their spouse, for example. I got a call from a nurse this week, just got married the day before. He sent his wife back to the UK, and he wanted to get the process going to get her admitted as a citizen. So we'll complete the paperwork and get in, and we have certain deadlines that we have to, there's certain processing times that are inherent in the system, and right now we're running about 9 to 12 months late on even getting getting it looked at.
So the courts are just loaded down with this kind of thing?
Actually, we start administratively. So you don't see a judge or a court until you're in trouble. You messed up.
Yeah.
You overstayed your time, for example. You got convicted of a crime. You made yourself ineligible to continue to remain in this country.
You know, what you're saying to me just is overwhelming. I can't imagine the United States government being able to keep up with all of that, with so many other things that they have to consider. The government, that is, the people that work for us in Washington and other places like that. I'm wondering if they can keep up with all this. And the reason why I'm wondering is because there are so many illegals, people who are in this country without documentation. We don't even know they're here. We don't know where they are. And I want to know, is the United States government, in your way of thinking, able to keep up with those people who are considered undocumented? But I want to find that out right after we come back from the commercial. And we'll do that in just a moment. We're going to come back and talk about the undocumented persons who are in this country. How did they get here, and what are we doing about it?